gutted the whole first floor. I went down the basement and there's plywood in the ceiling, so we're gutting it. So pulling this piece of plywood down, the big crowbar, I pull it down, and all of a sudden, this ball of fur and bones comes flying towards my face, and I felt like I was in like the Matrix or something. Like I was like this, like dodging this.
Big it up, big it up. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
Keeping it real with Mel. We got Paul and Susan Kadilak from the Kadilak Realty Group in Boston, Massachusetts, up north.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we're here at Tom Ferry's Sales and Marketing Edge in Norfolk, and I saw you guys. I met you guys like a year and a half ago. Either I can't remember if it was Nashville or Dallas at one of the team events. But tell us a little bit about kind of your makeup, your businesses. You guys have multiple businesses, and you know what that looks like. You know, we're just, I guess, give us a high level overview of kind of where we are now, what your structure looks like.
Okay. So right now we've got, so I started real estate. I'm a real estate broker. We're broker owner. So we'd have kind of a team or a small brokerage. And then we also have a construction company where we're doing client renovations, we're doing custom builds, and then we're also investing. So we're purchasing properties, renovating them, or rebuilding them, and reselling them.
Okay, so you probably have more than like one staff.
We do have more than one staff member.
What does that look like on the brokerage? So you got brokerage,
Yep.
construction company,
Yeah.
where you're doing, you said new build, so you're building like by the lot, like dirt, dig the whole, like the whole deal.
The whole thing.
And then also somebody just says, hey, Paul, I need my bathroom, you know, I want a new tub or a new vanity. You get, you know, from that all the way to bold.
We're design build on the construction side, but then it's just those components all tie in terms of that, because there's a lot of real estate agents that don't know about construction. There's a lot of guys in construction that don't know about real estate. So kind of blending those two together gives us a lot more weapons in our arsenal, so to speak, because we can know layouts. You know, Susan knows all the spacing, layouts, and structure. She doesn't need me to build a house. She can build a house without me.
You guys are both licensed builders, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So, okay. Got it. And so you got the construction company, building company on this one side. Tell me about the brokerage. What's that look like? How many agents, staff?
Yeah, so we've got 11 licensed agents, including myself. On the real estate side, we have an admin, we have a social media marketing person, and then we also have a videographer on staff. So that's kind of the staff from the real estate side. And on the construction side, we've got, you know, just a ton of field crew. Our guys have been with us for a long time. I don't think I could even count them up. You know, depending on the project, we have different crews, and we do everything from, you know, our smallest project is probably like a whole first floor renovation, but most of our projects are going to be a full house reno or a knock down or rebuild, or, you know, something like that.
It's a big stuff, not like, hey, Susan, can you come and give me a quote to paint the bed?
Usually,
right. Not that's
When we first started out, we had those calls,
Right.
and we were like, yes.
right. Yes, you got a job.
Right. But we do have a lot of real estate clients who may need something like that. So we do have a team of people who do things like that. So we do have resources for all of our clients, depending on what they need. Because sometimes we'll have a client who will come to us and say, I think I want to build, I think I want to remodel, or maybe I want to move. I don't know. So we can kind of take all that. So right now we have a client, 3 years ago, they came to us, they wanted to build. The numbers weren't quite there. It wasn't going to work. But what we ended up landing on was we sold their house that they were living in. They purchased a home that was about 20 years old. And right now, currently, we're in the middle of renovating our full first floor.
Okay.
So a lot of times we have clients who, you know, kind of go through that process.
So it's like a one-stop, it's
Totally.
a one-stop shop. I think that's what we try to be for that. So
Build relationships. You're growing with the clients. The clients are growing with you.
Absolutely.
100%. I think it's more of, you know, some people say, how do you do these type of things, this, but it's like when you have to stay focused on each task at hand, right? So finding them a place then that works for them, you know, not for us in terms of renovating, that works for them as the client, you know, suits their needs, what they need to, how they live and so forth, you know? So it's really, you know, Susan's very good about listening to them and peeling back those layers of things, you know, finding out what they want. It's like, I hate my kitchen. That's a default thing. I hate it. Why? Because that's ugly. Right. But what else about it? You know, my husband and I can't cook in it at the same time. okay, now stop. Where do you got to keep your spices? Well, I got to go over here. So like digging into those questions of not really thinking about, because that ugly kitchen overshadows kind of, if they just want something different, they don't know what,
Right.
and you got to talk it out. Figure it.
So really like the design part. So it sounds like that's probably the most important part is, and that's the creative, and making it functional. Not just, I'm just replacing the same stuff and it's keeping the same layout. So you're
Right.
changing up everything.
Yeah, a lot of times you're moving stuff around. And I mean, that is so like translates to the real estate as well, because, as you know, when you're sitting down with a client, it's funny, I always help therapy sessions. I'm like, we're going to have a therapy session. We're going to find out what you need, and it's like that process of figuring out what does the client need and what is the best way for the client to achieve that. And sometimes it is selling the home they have and buying a new home. Maybe there's something that they want that just doesn't work in their current home. Or maybe the answer is you're not going to be able to find out in the marketplace what you want. Maybe you just need to renovate. So helping clients through that process of, okay, here are what the issues are. Here are the ways that they can be solved. And what do we do?
What's the problem? That's why they call them.
And I've seen some of you guys stuff. You guys are hilarious.
He's hilarious.
So tell me, I mean, now, and I know, and I thought you were a former, but you said you're still active firefighter.
Yeah, I've been for almost 15 years now.
Yeah. We don't have enough going on. So we're like,
Yeah,
we will add more things.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's probably where my sense of things come a little differently, because I see really bad things at that job. So you have to deal with things a certain way. So a lot of us deal with it, through humor.
Yeah.
And that obviously translates into what we do day to day. And, the construction and the real estate, it's so emotional for people because they buy a house, they save their whole life. It's something they've always wanted, the American dream, and they just don't know what to do with it, or they want it to be special and they just can't articulate how. And it becomes very emotional. Your kids are raised as memory, parents, whatever. So I think that all ties into it, because a lot of times if, people are starting to go crazy with the renovations, for like, nobody's dying, everything will get fixed. And then they kind of go, okay, so it's just like looking at the perspective of being, the reality of it.
Yeah. And your background as a really dealer with trauma, like real life or death situations,
Right.
helps you put stuff in perspective. Like you said, it's going to be okay.
Right. When people are freaking out because the attic wasn't empty, we're like, it's going to be fine. Everything's just going to be fine. We're going to figure this
The
out.
house is still here.
Right. This is solvable.
Right.
And, and when we do renovations, like clients know and expect and watch to see what is Paul going to do in my house. So we want to see a video of Paul. We have Paul, like taking showers, fully clothed, doing all kinds of weird things. So testing bidets with his pants on. That was a good video.
I mean, it's all PG,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I've taken showers fully clothed, but
Yeah.
different reasons.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't remember.
With my clothes on.
Paul does
Yeah.
purpose. Paul does it purposely.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I just put it on the internet. I mean, that's what I do. Like, okay,
That
Paul's,
magic just happened.
yeah, I'm like, Paul's doing something weird. I need to get this, and then everybody else. If I have to see it, everybody else has to see it. That's how I look at it.
We actually won an award for one of those videos.
Share the love.
Right, exactly. I'm like, if I have to deal with this and watch this, you guys have to watch this too.
I look at it like this: renovations are stressful, buying a house is stressful. It should be an enjoyable process. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Fun.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's stressful because the decisions you have to make, but it should also be fun. You saved your whole life to buy this house or renovate or make it what you want, get the kitchen you dream, whatever it may be. Like, that's the end goal, is to get that done. So it's like, it can be fun along the way, but I think the way it also becomes fun is the way that we are transparent with clients and try to educate them as we go through that process. And so they know the steps that we're doing, so that they're clear and not just, nodding their head like, do you understand what we're saying? They're like, they don't. We understand they don't. It's a language they don't speak. They don't understand all the construction lingo, and they shouldn't, so that's the big piece, is really making sure they understand what we're doing, what it looks like, and these are the things we've learned from when we started the business to now, and you just hope to always strive or do better, look back at what you first did, and you're like, I can't believe we did that on, you can't believe we did that at this job, 10 years ago or whatever, and, you always try to get better at it and improve.
And that's where your experience comes in. So obviously your understanding of the connections and the relationship and how people are feeling during the transaction has improved since when you first started. So now you've got a whole, hundreds of houses later,
Yeah.
you really can connect with the consumer with the client in a different, better way. And I'm sure you could in the beginning.
Absolutely.
I mean, sure, people watch the videos and go, Paul is an idiot. At some point, you go, I don't, he bothers me, and I bother myself sometimes. So, it happens. You do.
Right.
So it's like, he's annoying. I don't want to listen to him, right? So,
But I can't stop listening.
but I wouldn't blame him either if they said that. I'd be like, probably right. It probably was. But that, they watch and watch, continue to watch, and then they'll call me. It could be a year later they call, but people, it's like, that's the people watching, right? That the social media, all that stuff. It's like people don't sit on a bench in the city anymore and just watch people walk by and see what they're doing. Now they go online and they can look wherever they go, whatever.
There's some info.
Right.
Exactly. It's a virtual bench now, So yeah, exactly.
How'd you guys meet? And tell me, like, what's your family dynamic? Kids, pets, like, what's the?
Yep. So we met through a mutual friend actually at a Christmas party.
Okay.
Yes, and we met at that party that night, and then
That was
I think I
15
called
years
her.
ago.
Yeah,
And were all the fixed construction at the time?
I was not.
Okay.
She was. I was not.
Okay.
So I met her at that party, and then the next day I called her. My buddy's like, dude, don't call her. Wait like 6 weeks. No, I was like, I don't want to do
Gotta
that.
create some supply and demand.
I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to talk to her. I had a good conversation with her, so I called her. And I was over else the next night. She made dinner, and she had a dump truck in her driveway. When I pulled up, and I was like, whose dump truck is that? She's like, it's mine. I was like, huh, that's interesting. I got to find out more about this. And come to find out, her grandfather's a builder, her father did building, so kind of in the bloodline there. So it was,
So I don't have a choice.
He didn't have a choice. No. It was funny because when he got to the fire department, with the schedule, they have 1 day on, 2 days off, 1 day off, 4 days off. So he said, well, I'm going to take up golf. And I was like, oh, no. Let's go. I was like, you weird. And I
Got all
said,
this.
I had a whole list of hobbies that I was going to try to cut.
Right.
I was going to I'll whittle wood. So I had to whittle wood. I'm going to learn how to golf. It's like, yeah, just all these grand ideas. And then it was like, no, we're not going to.
No.
Yeah.
So I kind of dragged him in, and that was during the recession. So I was, selling real estate. We had the construction. So the projects we were doing back then, they were not pretty projects. There was nothing we put on Instagram.
It's the slam. It was more like, oh, I see. Trust me.
And it's like,
Not pretty.
structural work. So, that's kind of how he got dragged into the business.
I'm glad I did, though, because it's very humbling to see people that do that kind of work every single day. Don't complain about it. Do it over and over again. 12 hours a day, digging holes in basements. That is hard work that people don't always understand how much is involved in that. So I try to really, I do more of the management with her now because we have so many jobs, but I show my appreciation to the crews, that work with us because it's not easy work, so.
Yeah, I mean, when you see that finished product, people look at they see the TV show and they see the pretty house and they just look at they don't care about the roof or the insulation in the basement or the waterproofing.
Exactly.
That's sexy.
Right.
I just want to see the kitchen. That's it.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot more we know.
I think we always look at those projects, the ones we might build and sell. And at the end of the day, we look at that house and go, would we move into this house? And the answer is always yes. So we build them as if we would move into that house. That's how, I think that's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
It's
with
not.
your passion and your love.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lot of builders might cut corners, put cheaper things in this and that. We probably do the opposite and spend more than we think we were going to spend because there's a certain look Susan has that she wants that house to be. And I'm never against making it that way either. So it's like, well, it just markets back into your work, right? So if we do spend extra money on it, it goes out on all these social platforms and people watch and see us and then they might call us for a project. So it's
It's more business, which kind of just keeps feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, and on the switch gears, what's one of the, because between the real estate and the construction, I know you guys have tons and tons of stories. What's a story that comes to mind of we're just keeping it real, like of a story that, that most people don't know, like a crazy scenario story, either on a construction project or on a real estate transaction.
Or me. Where do you want to start?
I mean, we could talk about one of our first flips
Yeah.
where Paul was housed to be down. I mean, real estate I have so many stories, but this one's probably better than my stories.
So I had been bugging her for a while, but let's do a flip. I'm more of that guy that jumps off the roof into the pool. I'm like, this is fun. She's like, why would you do that? That's stupid. Yeah. Right. she thinks these things through, you know, so we balance each other well. And that's I kept pushing about doing a flip, and she was cautious. Finally, she agreed. So we found a
2014.
Right.
So we're coming fresh on
Okay.
that recession, right?
Okay.
So I'm like traumatized.
Little, yeah.
Recession,
We're all traumatized.
right? Because you know after selling real estate through the recession, it's no joke. So we're coming up that, and I'm like, I don't know if we want to do that, but we went for it. We jumped in.
Yeah, we bought a house for $165,000.
Okay. 165.
Right.
Get dirt.
Which now is like free.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the down payment.
So it was an old client of hers. Old real estate client had called, said his mother had lived there. She had passed away, and you know, he wanted to sell the house. So she's like, "You want to look at it?" I was like, "Yeah." So we looked at it, and it was perfect for a flip. It had plywood floors. It was, you know, she had a lot of cats, so there's cats now.
disaster.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Nobody's gonna want to buy this." And we're like, "This is perfect. We want to buy
It
it."
smelled like Febreze.
Exactly. You can smell it. It's
Right.
You can
Yeah.
smell it.
So so we, you know, we might have said he was very patient with us because we were going through the process of learning about getting the loans from the bank and all this kind of stuff, which thankfully he was. So we got the house, started doing demo, got to the whole first floor. I went down the basement, and there's plywood in the ceiling, so we're gutting it. So pulling this piece of plywood down, the big crowbar, I pull it down, and all of a sudden, this ball of fur and bones comes flying towards my face, and I felt like I was in like the Matrix or something. Like I was like just like dodging this, and the smell was so overbearing from that being opened up, and I was like, oh. So come to find out later on, I think she had over a dozen cats in that house, but you know, the son who had sold us the house had reached out.
Just random. I didn't tell him. And he's like, "Hey, did you happen to find any cats in the house?" And I was like, "Actually, yes, we did. Yes, we did." He's like, "I told my mother that I knew that cat died somewhere in the house." And I was like, "Thanks for the warning."
Right. You know, after
Right. Yeah. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
fun.
Dead cat stuff in the ceiling, which,
okay.
you know, that was a
Yeah. Nice. Oh, on top of the good thing.
Oh,
It
yeah.
smelled like Febreze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That covered
It was
everything.
cat.
I mean,
Dead
it was
body
probably
odor.
good that it did happen because it set the tone for anything going forward. It's
Right.
like, well, if this is what,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
this the craziest thing.
right. It's like
Everything else.
right. What's it compared to everything else? So that was always interesting. Did some for another client that they found a snake in the trim, which took the door off, and the snake keep flying out. So you know, animals need houses.
Yeah.
That's
and a lot of houses and houses work.
all right. And so now back to like as in Boston, like what is there a particular part? I know it's a huge city.
Yeah.
What are the do you service the entire area? I mean, where would if someone say, well, what are the areas that you focus on? Would it be the entire city, or are there particular neighborhoods or subdivisions that you guys really kill it?
Yep. So we're in Burlington, Mass. So we're north of Boston. So pretty much anything greater Boston. That's like Boston
Metro area.
It's pretty
Okay.
much where we focus. But we're in Burlington, which is about 20 minutes from from Boston proper. And that's where our office.
It's a very desirable town location. It's got a lot of the major highways run through. It's got a tier 1 hospital in town. So
Best Buy department.
That's fire.
That's right.
I don't know
It's the
about
best department.
I don't know about the best. I just try to contribute.
And if someone wanted to either, you said you got a growing team,
Yeah.
and a booming construction company. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, either to get a construction project done, maybe a room paint, or maybe more, or if they wanted to maybe join your real estate team, or maybe want to have a piece of land, wanted to build a whole house from scratch, how would they get in touch with you guys?
So we're on social everywhere at Kadilak Homes, and it's Kadilak 2Ks. It's Kadilak.
It's spelled wrong. It's spelled wrong a lot of the time.
Yeah, on the corner's got it wrong.
All the cars get it wrong. So we're at Kadilak Homes, at Kadilak Realty Group. So pretty much find us.
At Cadillac Homes for the construction, at Cadillac Realty Group for the brokerage.
Yeah.
If they want to buy or sell a house, or maybe invest in real estate.
Yep.
If they want to do a renovation project.
So
That's where we teach the agents as well. They come to the houses we're building, so they learn about load-bearing walls, things that you hear these terms as a real estate agent. Might not you've heard of it. You kind of have an idea, but you're not really sure. So we can walk through and be like, now do I understand this? So we teach all of our agents those pieces of it. So, we want agents want to come join, really, really dive in and learn and get a good education.
yeah, our
on it.
agents are super considered and investing. We have agents who do their own investments. So agents were interested in that side of things. that. And like you said, just as just as an agent to have knowledge of construction, it's super valuable. So
We have a
it's kinda
mantra.
great.
Everybody deserves on the whole.
And most agents, we know, they don't know much. I mean, about the real
Right.
intrinsic in the house. They just, sign here,
Yeah.
that's pretty,
Right.
but so the fact that you're educating your agents on having a true understanding of the construction side, so that way they can see, maybe save their clients some money and potentially maybe a potential disaster
Totally.
if
Yeah.
they,
I mean,
They're
there
not
is-
age up all the windows are already, certain age homes are going to have common issues. You have to go through all of that because, as a buyer, a lot of times you can save your buyer the decision of, do I go forward and make an offer on this home or not? Here are the issues. How do you deal with it or get with that?
need to be in this price, right? You
Right.
can still get the home, still an opportunity, but maybe the price is
Right.
a little bit
Exactly.
different.
It's incredible when you have that knowledge. You can spit some of that when you are looking at a property. They have an instant trust with you. If you're like,
Yeah.
look, right. And that's the whole thing. At the end of the day, it's their best interest, not yours. Like, you're not trying to sell it to them to just get a sale.
Right.
If you dig in and do that work and really find that house that they want, that's bringing that longevity. You're planting that one seed that they're going to send everybody that they know your way. You'd be like, you have, solely if that's it, you have to, Susan, you have to. Well, and once they go out with her one time, they're dialed into whatever she tells them. She's like, I would buy this house. This is probably not a good idea. She gives them this is the information. So you guys
We're back
informed decision.
back to the relationships,
Totally.
back
That's
to creating trust, and that's how you get lifelong clients and same business.
That's it. Want a relationship, not a relationship.
Right. Yeah.
cut that.
My
out.
sorry.
Relationship.
Relationship.
So it's for Yeah.
No. So what? Last thing.
Yeah.
What would you say to a lot of agents and small business owners
Yeah.
watch us and what would you say to that agent out there, small business owner, because you guys can talk to both, that is maybe trying to figure this whole thing out and really trying to get their footing? Like, what can you say to them to inspire them to let them know that it's worth it? Because I'm sure it's what didn't start out the
Yeah.
whole time. But what would you say to them to really get, what's the one or two things that you might mention to say that they could be like you?
I mean, the number one thing I tell agents all the time is say you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be, everything doesn't have to be perfect. It is executing consistently, period. If you execute consistently over and over again, you will naturally improve. Your skills will naturally get better. That's how to do it. Like once you go in, just go all in.
You start out as a rough carpenter, and then you get better and better and learn how to finesse, fine tune, and fix those little details. Because there's so much at the beginning you're trying to learn, and it can be overwhelming for people. And it's just kind of, you got to be focused and stay in your lane. That's a lot of what we do too. Is we don't look at what is this builder doing, what is this builder doing, how are they doing it? We just do what we think is right and just keep our voice flying on. Right, and that's it. Just stay focused on the client, what they want, and don't listen to all the noise, because there's a lot of it and it can be very distracting, and just do the best you can. Like, don't half-ass it. That's part of
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Just don't half-ass it. Just be all in for it. Like Michael Jordan didn't just go out and start, shooting threes and not practicing at all, right? Practice consistently, even after they lost that time. The next day, let's go home. They went to the court practice.
And that's one thing I hear from agents. Why do I have to role play? Why do I have to script practice? Why should I do this? But then when I asked if do you think I could practice, well, of course he did. Oh, he didn't
Just show up.
Right. So if he has to practice, we all need to practice.
Right. And do you want your surgeon showing up? You want your dentist? Like,
Right.
yeah, I haven't pulled teeth in a few months. So he's wrong too.
Right. Give it a try.
Yeah, my license got revoked. I should be getting it back any time now.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
I still remember that.
Don't practice on your clients.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. At Mike Realty Group, Kadilak Family.
Yeah.
Paul and Susan, I appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you.
Very short to talk. 3 Saturday.
All right.
Big it up, big it up. Yeah. Clear him up. Yeah.